when you think about networking and building relationships, what does that mean? Networking is such a term. I call this process just making friends. That's it. That just really means who are your friends in your life and who are your closest friends and who is your circle, and most importantly, who wants to see you win. So you might start out at the very bottom with acquaintances, right? People that you just know, you go to work and they happen to sit on the same floor as you. Then you have very casual friends, like people that you talk every once in a while, friends of friends that you just have casual conversations. Then you have like really, really close friends that you might share some of your deepest personal stories with. You have your families. And then in this world, beyond just friendship, there are people that want to see you win. And the people that want to see you win generally are people because they resonate with your mission or your vision or whatever goals that you have set in place that's large enough to allow them to become part of it. But really also because you have provided so much value to them without any expectation in return. And that's really where some of the strongest friendships have come when it comes to building relationships. And then learn how you talk about people, especially if you're in a group and you're introducing someone for the first time, because people truly do remember you. Your goal is to be remembered in a positive way, not for what you say, but for how you make them feel. That's all of a sudden how certain doors are going to start being opened up to you. There's so many times when I ask people, like, hey, how do I help you? And they're like, hey, I can introduce you to X and X, but only if X and X happens, right? It's very transactional. And there's so many folks out there right now in this world that probably just needs a little guidance, that probably just needs a little bit of help. And you're probably just one mentor away, one conversation away from your life changing dramatically. So whatever goal you want to have, whoever you think you want to meet, go find a mentor that's already doing like any regular Tuesday. Just message the person. And I really hope that you take that to heart. All right. Welcome to another episode of Affordable Housing and Real Estate Investing. Today, we're going to be doing something a little different. Today, I had a really impactful conversation with one of my friends, John Chan, and he's going to be a future podcast guest. But we really talked a lot about our Clifton strengths. And for those of you that don't really know what Clifton Strengths are, I first found out about the Clifton Strengths Assessment from a woman named Rosie Noel through Vina Jetty's Multi-Fi community. And I signed up for the Clifton Strengths Assessment, and let me see if I can share with you all of my results. And the reason I'm doing this podcast this way today is because we have covered a ton of very, very tactical items over the last year and a half on this podcast. And I've realized that, man, the way you understand yourself, self-awareness is probably 80, 90% of what it takes to become successful in life, in business, in your family, your relationships, etc. So when I was talking to John today, I realized that if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, I would be really sad if I didn't share some of the lessons with my family members, including my daughter. So that's why I want to share some items with all of you today. Let me start by sharing my screen here. So this is my Clifton Strength Assessment, and what I specialize in or what I know best in is called influencing themes. If you look here on my Clifton Strength Assessment, the top 8 items on this list. First one is futuristic. I'm very much a visionary. I understand how to visualize what I'm looking for and what I'm looking to accomplish in the future. So that I have a very great sense of the mission that we're trying to achieve, which is creating the largest affordable housing investment community in the United States. Now, as I got to become more aware of all of these, right, I didn't realize how to truly gamify the system and hack myself. What do I mean by that? If you guys have ever tried to create a new habit, let's just take, hey, I want to exercise more consistently, or I want to eat more healthy, or I want to meet more friends, or I want to accomplish X goal in life. Generally, a goal is great, but the standards by which you allow yourself to be held accountable to, the habits that you focus on implementing every single day, that's what's going to drive you towards that goal. So whatever your goal is, you got to think about, hey, who do I need to become? And what are the habits of that person that will allow you to become that person that accomplishes such said goals? So as I looked at my top 8 skills, let's say, you see that discipline and consistency is actually on the lower part of my Clifton strengths. However, what I realized is I finally understand why I was able to stay consistent. For example, today is day 264 of me going live every single day, analyzing a deal every single day. And it's really, really boring, to be quite honest, because you're saying the same things over and over. You're doing the same process over and over. You might tweak it here and there, but how do you stay consistent? And the sooner you understand yourself, and what the buttons are that you need to push yourself to create such habit the better. And here's an example, right? About 264 days ago, I set out a goal and said, hey, I am going to underwrite a deal every single day and I'm going to go live doing it. I'm also going to work out every single day. And I'm also going to do my best to meet one new person every day or just catch up with an old friend every single day. Now, the only reason I stayed consistent with it was because I put it on social media. Now, there's probably less than 10 people that watches my Instagram stories, at least back then. However, I had this mindset that said, hey, I just told the world that I'm going to analyze a deal every single day. So if I don't do that, then that means that I do not do what I say I am going to do. And as a result, people are not going to trust me anymore. And they're not going to want to partner with me. They're not going to want to do business with me. They're not going to want to be my friends because I think successful people really understand really well what it means to be consistent. And if you can show over time that you're consistent and you're not just a talker, you actually do what you say you're going to do, then that creates more confidence in other people. So that's how I actually tricked myself to work out every day. Because I literally said, hey, if I don't work out today, people aren't going to trust me. People aren't going to believe me. And that's how I hacked my brain into creating that habit. So hopefully that's one way that you all will take into account because guess what? Everybody's going to be very different. Everybody's going to have your own way of motivating yourself. You're going to have different reasons. Another way that I look, generally, I'm not really like a truly extroverted person. I don't generally like going to events and I don't generally like walking up to random people, shaking their hands and saying hi and doing small talk. I don't. So here comes the next section. This section is really about networking and how to become friends and how to build relationships. Because I think for my daughter Soleil, whatever you want to accomplish in life, I hope that they are very, very big goals, Soleil. And I hope this gives you an understanding that you don't need to do it alone. There's so many amazing people in this world that I really want you to understand that they are there to help you. So when you think about networking and building relationships, what does that mean? Networking is such a term. I call this process just making friends. That's it. Stop calling it networking. When people keep saying your network is your net worth, man, that just really means who are your friends in your life and who are your closest friends and who is your circle. And most importantly, who wants to see you win? If I can see and I can define the level of relationships, you might start out at the very bottom with acquaintances, right? People that you just know, you go to work and they happen to sit on the same floor as you, something like that. Then you have very casual friends, like people that you talk every once in a while, friends of friends that you just have casual conversations. Then you have like really, really close friends that you might share some of your deepest personal stories with. You have your families. And then in this world, beyond just friendship, there are people that want to see you win. And the people that want to see you win generally are people because they resonate with your mission or your vision or whatever goals that you have set in place that's large enough to allow them to become part of it. But really, also, they want to see you win because, well, you have provided so much value to them without any expectation in return. And that's really where some of the strongest friendships have come. And over the last year and a half, I have been so grateful to have met so many people. And they have truly, truly changed my life. I have learned so much from one of my mentors. Let's just call it Alvin Hope Johnson. Now, I'll share with you all one thing, right? So I started a podcast a year and a half ago. And 3 months in, I cold messaged this person named Alvin Hope Johnson. I just said, hey, Alvin, my name is Ken He. I'm in this Facebook group with somebody in Vienna Jetty, and she posted, mentioned your name that you are a expert in affordable housing. I started a podcast called Affordable Housing and Real Estate Investing. I was wondering if you'd be willing to come on as a guest to talk about your nonprofit as it relates to multifamily. And then boom, just like that. He said, hey, Ken, absolutely shoot me a message. And I undoubtedly attribute so much of my success and so much of my growth last year and a half to Alvin because he has taught me how to build relationships, how to become a genius engineer and creative deal structure that allowed me to learn a skill set that I never even knew was possible. But I would have never, ever had that opportunity had I not sent that message. And there's so many folks out there right now in this world that probably just needs a little guidance, that probably just needs a little bit of help. And you're probably just one mentor away, one conversation away from your life changing dramatically. Now, obviously, before that, I was begging people to come onto the podcast because no one knew what the podcast was about. No one cared about it. And frankly, I had to beg people to come on. And that's why I'm so grateful for every single one of my podcast guests that believed in me, that believed in the mission, that believed that we're truly authentic. So the lesson here is just message the person, whoever you think you want to meet, whatever goal you want to accomplish, go message the person that's already doing it. And then try to bring so much value to that person's life because all I did was, I'll be honest with you, after Alvin came on my podcast, I watched all his YouTube videos 3 to 5 times each. I memorized everything. I listened to it while I was in the car. I watched it while I was at home. And whenever a deal came up, I just learned how Alvin analyzed deals and I underwrote the deals the same way he would underwrite it. So when the next deal came up, I said, hey, Alvin, I already watched all your videos. I already analyzed the deal based on what I saw on YouTube video. What would you change about it? Right. So instead of making that mentor that you are aspiring to answer the same question that they have already answered before, how can you provide value to that person? Well, just don't make them answer the same question again. Right. And I think that's how you build and acquire and obtain a really valuable mentor. And I'm just so grateful again for everything that Alvin has taught me. Now, that's one thing for networking is whatever goal you want to have, go find a mentor that's already doing it, that's doing like any regular Tuesday. All right. The second step when it comes to networking and building your relationships is learn how you talk about people, especially if you're in a group and you're introducing someone for the first time. I have learned this so well from many, many other people. And what they have done is just like, hey, look, this is Kent. He's an amazing affordable housing developer building apartments all over the United States with his team. Wow, that's a great introduction. Because once you realize people truly do remember you, not for what you say, but for how you make them feel. That's all of a sudden how certain doors are going to start being opened up to you. And I really hope that you take that to heart. Another tip I have when it comes to building relationships is try to just bring value to people's lives first. There's so many times when I ask people like, hey, how do I help you? And they're like, hey, I can introduce you to X and X, but only if X and X happens, right? It's very transactional. And think about it, for a lot of people out there that are raising capital nowadays, they go to these events. Like let's say there's a family office event, right? Family offices, for those that don't know, are usually conferences or wealth managers that manages the money for very ultra high net worth folks. So a lot of people go to these events to just try to pitch deals right away without even trying to build a relationship. So here's an example. Yesterday, I was at an event with this great, amazing group named Blueprint Boston. They throw some of the largest networking events for real estate folks out here in Boston, so you guys can look them up. And I was literally bringing my friend around. His name is Dr. J. If some of you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some of the stuff, but he is a holistic physical therapist and he has such an amazing story. He has personally helped like investors and other friends of mine who were on the verge of getting neck surgery and he just fixes them. So I go around and I promote him. I was like, hey, if you guys ever want to build a relationship with high level folks, stop trying to pitch them a deal. Bring value to their lives first. I was like, introduce Jay to your clients or to your clients' parents. Because if they have pain, let's say it's back pain or knee pain or some long, ailing, chronic pain that can't be fixed, I send them to him first. Because guess what? When they start feeling better or their parents start feeling better because of that connection that you made for them, they're going to remember you forever. And that's the goal when you go to networking events. Your goal is to be remembered in a positive way. So I hope you all found this podcast episode a little bit different, a little bit useful, and leave some comments here because I'm trying to get better at this. Not trying, I am going to get better at this. This is the first time I've ever done a solo podcast, but I thought it's time we do switch things up a little bit differently because I have learned so much in the last year and a half, and I have so many lessons, so many stories to tell that I really believe will be valuable to all of you. But understand that I really just want to share these stories with my daughter too. And when I had the reflection today and I thought about the future and I thought about, hey, on the day I died, my goal was to always, hey, how am I going to feel at peace? Have I helped enough people in the world? And I realized I haven't even stopped to record some of the most important lessons that I've learned in my journey with my daughter, Soleil, and my future children. So thank you so much for listening today. Thank you so much for being part of the affordable housing real estate investing community. Thank you all so much. Seriously, without all of you for the last year and a half, I probably would have quit. 1 month in, I had 17 views, and I'm pretty sure it was just my wife and my mom that were listening and pressing play. And second month in, we were up to like 80 views, and I almost quit. And I'm so glad I didn't. And I'm so glad that we have this amazing community. I'm so glad I got to meet so many people that cares about affordable housing. So DM me anytime on Instagram at @InvestWithKentHe. If you guys want to check out the podcast website, it's on www.affordablehousing.io. I would really appreciate it if you all can just keep sharing the podcast with other people. Thank you for tuning into this podcast. I know that it wasn't as tactical as some things, but when I realized that mindset and your attitude towards life is 80, 90% of it. And being self aware so that you can truly implement those habits that allow you to become the person that you want to be. And being self aware is so important because that's the only way you can understand how to push the buttons the right way so that you understand how to affect change in your life. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope you guys spend some quality time with your family and friends today. We'll be back soon with a guest, but I really want to cover some of the mindset issues because so much of the time is we're just scared and sometimes we're just a little bit lonely. And that's why we have this community. That's why we're building this. And that's why we're bringing on more guests, not just on affordable housing, but we're also going to bring on guests that talks a little bit about the mindset stuff because I would not be where I am today without the changes that I made up here in the brain for the last year and a half. And one of the first things that I did that really helped me was doing my Clifton Strength Assessment. So that's why I want to share that with you all today. Hopefully you found this valuable. And I'll be back here again next week, trying to do something similar and sharing a bunch of different other stories. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll be back here next week. And we are out.